Welcome to our Pharma Topics channel. How are you? Uh, Today, our topic of discussion is polymerase chain reaction, which is a very important tool in cell biology. It is a in vitro method of synthesis of nucleic acids, wherein a specific DNA segment is amplified rapidly without concomitant replication of the rest of the DNA molecule. That means a portion of the DNA molecule is multiplied. So this technique was developed by Kary Mullis in the year 1993. He got Nobel Prize for this. It is characterized by 3 years, that is sensitivity, specificity, and speed. Sensitivity, it requires just initial DNA, very less amount of DNA is enough. Specificity, only desired portion of DNA is amplified. And speed, it is very fast in the amplification technique. So let us see the steps in PCR. So basically, let us take this is a chromosomal DNA, and this portion let us take it is the gene of interest, and a primer is added at both the ends of the gene of interest, and it runs into many PCR cycles, and this gives the multiple copies of gene of interest. This is the basic thing of a polymerase chain reaction. Let us see a portion of the DNA, that is the target DNA. So you have two ends where the primers will go and attach. So the first step is denaturation, that is the double stranded DNA is broken into single stranded DNA or separated into single stranded DNA. That is the first step. And the next step is addition of forward primer and reverse primer. The temperature is reduced, and that step is called primer annealing. That is the forward primer and reverse primer attaches to the primer ends. The third step is primer extension. With the help of DNA polymerase, the primer extends and the DNA chain elongation happens. So this is the basic step of PCR. So let us see these steps in brief. So we have 3 steps. So first is denaturation. It requires a temperature of about 94 degrees centigrade for 5 minutes. That is the first round, and 20 seconds for the subsequent rounds. After that, for primer annealing, the temperature is reduced, and that step is called annealing. That is 50 to 60 degrees centigrade for 30 seconds. Then the polymerization from the primers along the templates occur by means of DNA polymerase, and the primer extends. This requires a temperature of 72 degrees centigrade for 1 to 5 minutes. So actually, if you see this graph, you can see the temperature fluctuations for denaturation, for renaturation, and DNA synthesis. So basically, the important things are 3 steps: denaturation, annealing, and extension. And the temperature is fluctuating. In the denaturation, the double stranded DNA is separated into single stranded DNA. In annealing, the primer gets attached, and in the extension, the complementary DNA is formed. It's roughly around 4 minutes. As the time progresses in the further cycles, it will be fast. So let us see the cycles and the number of copies in the polymerase chain reaction. So in each cycle, it gets exponential or doubling. So in the cycle 1, there is 1 copy of the DNA. In cycle 2, there are 2 copies. Cycle 3, there are 4 copies of the target DNA. In cycle 4, there are 8 copies. Cycle 5, there are 16 copies. Cycle 6, there are 32 copies. And cycle 7, there are 64 copies. So within few minutes, it produces trillions and millions and trillions of copies of the target DNA. So that is the importance of polymerase chain reaction. So let us see the requirements of PCR. So basically, it requires a PCR machine that's called thermocycler. The temperature is regulated automatically at regular time intervals. And the next thing is there is a requirement for sample DNA and the target sequence with the flanking regions which are known sequences. Then the complementary to the known sequences, addition of primer 1 and addition of primer 2. The next important requirement is two primers. One is a forward primer and one is a reverse primer. With the help of a DNA polymerase, the nucleotides are added to the primer with the help of the enzyme. So let us see the DNA polymerase enzymes which are used in PCR. The first one is a clenofragment, which is obtained from E. coli. It has an optimum activity at about 37 degrees centigrade. It is suitable for non-automated PCR machines, but its limitations are it is having lack of proof reading ability, and it has more chances for misincorporations. The next is Taq polymerase, which is very widely used in the PCR machines. It is obtained from Thermus aquaticus. It is suitable for automated PCR. It has optimum activity at around 72 degrees centigrade. It can withstand up to 95 degree centigrade temperature. The advantages are it has less chances of misincorporation and ability to withstand repeated cycles of heating and cooling, that is heating and annealing. Limitations, it lacks the proofreading ability. The next one is a DNA polymerase from Sulfolobolus acidocaldarius. It has optimum activity at around 100 degrees centigrade. It has less chances of misincorporations, but its limitations are a lack of proofreading ability. The next is Thermophilus, that is TTH polymerase. It has optimal activity at around 75 degrees centigrade. And its advantages is it can be used for RT-PCR with the presence of magnesium chloride. The next is a DNA polymerase from Thermus litorates, TLA polymerase. It has optimum activity at around 100 degrees centigrade. It has less chances of misincorporations. The advantages, this is the only enzyme which has a proofreading ability, so the errors could be minimized. Then the fifth requirement is deoxynucleotide phosphates. These are the building blocks for the new DNA strands, and they are DATP, DTTP, DGTP, and deoxycytidine triphosphate. Let us see the efficiency of PCR. So it depends upon the formula n equal to n into 1 plus epsilon to the power c. So n is the final amount of DNA, small n is the initial amount of DNA, and E is the epsilon is the efficiency, which is between 0.60 to 0.93, and C is the number of cycles. So for amplification of 10 to the power 9 fold initial DNA, approximately 30 cycles are needed. Let us see the types of PCRs. One is reverse transcriptase PCR, a small RT-PCR, which is very widely used. Let us take the RNA of interest, and with the help of reverse transcriptase and addition of primers, the double stranded complementary DNAs are derived from the RNA of interest. So here the cell is lysed, mRNA is taken with the help of reverse transcriptase. The DNA, C complementary DNA is generated with the help of PCR. It produces multiple copies of the cDNA, which could be detected with the fluorescence. So let us take an example of RT-PCR, which is in this pandemic situation. COVID testing is widely tested with the help of reverse transcriptase PCR. So let us take, this is the virus, which is a RNA virus. With the help of swab sampling with nasal discharge or mouth discharge, the samples are taken and they are placed in the suitable medium. And then the cell is lysed with the cell lysis leads to the release of mRNA. With the help of reverse transcriptase, it is converted to the complementary DNA. With the help of PCR, it is many copies of the cDNA of the virus are produced, which you can detect in the fluorescence. So when a particular limit is reached, it gives the positive result for the COVID-19. So this is the basic principle of RT-PCR. Let us see the other type of RT-PCR, that is capital RT-PCR. There is real-time PCR. It is also called qPCR. So here the cell is lysed, directly the DNA is taken, it is amplified with the help of PCR technique and which is detected by fluorescence. So here two type of detectors are used. One is a Tachman detector. It will have a reporter portion which produces light or fluorescence, and a quencher portion which protects the reporter from producing the light, and it will have a oligonucleotide complementary to one of the strands of the PCR product. So during annealing step, both the primer and the Tachman detector binds to the DNA. And during extension step, the detector is digested by the Taq polymerase, which separates the reporter from the quencher, where you can detect the light, the fluorescence at that time. So in case of a real-time PCR, you can see the fluorescence gradually increases, and when it reaches a threshold, a linearity appears where the fluorescence increases, and then it gives a plateau region. So you can see the what is happening in the PCR in real time. So that is why it is called a qPCR or quantitative PCR. So when you have a higher amount of DNA, you will have more fluorescence. When within a few cycles, you can detect the fluorescence. It is very low, means it takes more cycles to produce the fluorescence. So the another detector which is used is CyberGreen. So it attaches only to double-stranded DNA and produces fluorescence. And you can, during the initial steps, it will have fluorescence. During annealing, the strands are separated, the fluorescence will reduce, and then again during the extension step, it will produce the fluorescence. So another type of PCR is inverse PCR. So here let us take a transposon where the sequence is known, but we don't know where it is attached. What are the sequences nearby to the transposon? So that could be detected with the help of PCR. So with the help of a restriction endonuclease and ligase, it is circularized. And when you run the PCR cycles, you can identify the unknown sequence. So this type of technique is called inverse PCR. The sequence around the target regions are unknown from the both ends. So the next type of PCR is anchored PCR. Here let us take you have a known sequence and you have an unknown sequence. Here a linker is added which is of a known sequence. Usually poly G tails are attached by the adapters as linkers. So now you will have two known sequences, and in the middle you have unknown sequence. To design the primers and you execute the PCR, and this type of fixing a particular sequence is called anchored PCR. The next is nested PCR. The sequence similarities between the target DNA and the related DNA are common in this case. The undesired DNA can be blocked by PCR using nested primer that can bind only to the target DNA sequence. The next type of PCR is asymmetric PCR. Here the selective amplification of one of the strand, only one of the strand using one of the primers in excess quantity. So this is used during DNA sequencing. Let us see the applications of PCR. It is multiple. So you will detect the DNA or the RNA in brief. So it is used for diagnosis of genetic diseases like Duchenne muscular dystrophy, sickle cell anemia. It is a very valid tool in detection of cancer, infectious diseases, prenatal diagnosis and carrier detection in cystic fibrosis. You can compare a normal gene with a mutant gene. Even you can detect the low abundance of that is the nucleic acids where you use real-time PCR, that is qPCR, and it is very useful tool in case of a crime scene or the forensic analysis, and it is also used in archaeology or excavation studies. So these are the few applications of PCR, and there are multiple uses. I hope it's a short nutshell information of polymerase chain reaction. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, kindly press the like button. Happy learning. Kindly share this to more of your friends. Kindly subscribe to our Pharma Topics channel for further updates. Thank you.